The dark alleys of the Undercity with its toxic, suffocating air. The fine streets of Piltover with its remarkable progress and prosperity. Who do you think is right? Is it Jayce, the optimistic scientist who just wants to make the world a better place? Or Heimerdinger, the wise professor who warns of the dangers of Jayce's research? Who do you think is right? Is it Vander, the composed leader who doesn't want to sacrifice his people for change? Or Silco, the crime lord who simply wants a better tomorrow for the people of Zaun? Who do you think is right? Perspective. Everyone has a perspective, a different side to the same problem. After all, we're not perfect. We all make mistakes, and we all have a monster inside of us. And at the end of the day, we all think we're doing the right thing. At the end of the day, it all depends on perspective. Today, I want to talk about a story that masterfully executes this art of perspective. A story that blew me away with its fantastic cast, beautiful music, memorable dialogue, and breathtaking cinematography. A story that effortlessly manages to explore different sides to the same problem, and at the end of it all, leaves you with a simple yet daunting question. Who do you think is right? Of course, I'm talking about none other than my favorite show of 2021, Arcane. Arcane is a story that is absolutely exceptional, hitting on all the notes that make a beautiful experience. It manages to accomplish so much in such a short amount of time, and that's a feat I find to be quite rare. And so, what Arcane does best is somehow strike the perfect balance in portraying this dilemma of right and wrong. And I don't just mean portraying right and wrong in the show as a whole, rather portraying it with each individual character. Almost every single character in the show has a valid reason for doing what they're doing. We have all these different perspectives, and each of them is given just as much importance as the other. After all, every single person has a slightly different lens through which they experience the world. Everyone is right in their own ways, and they're also wrong in their own ways. It's a surprisingly grounded take on this fantastical world, whether it be Viktor's determination to one day help the Undercity heal with Hextech, or Vi's mission of vengeance against Silco and Shimmer, or Marcus's reluctant acceptance of corruption, just so that he could protect his daughter. No reason is depicted as too small or too big in comparison, because for those individuals, it means the world. It's all that matters to them, and we feel that weight no matter who it is, no matter what the scope of their goals are. That is the beauty of Arcane's world building and characterization. World building is an aspect that I really enjoy when done right, especially here. It's not just Piltover against Zaun, there's all kinds of factions on either side of the fence. Whether it be Silco against Vander or Jayce against the Council, there's a constant clash of ideologies on both sides of the spectrum, and I really enjoy how this show deals with that. The Firelights, for example, are such an awesome faction because they don't really belong on either side. They seem like they were the remainder of Vander's legacy, and with Echo as their leader, that makes sense. He isn't too fond of the Topsiders, but at the same time, hates Silco for everything he's done. And so, what we get is this small group of people that have made a place for themselves in a harsh world. Not only do they have those sick outfits and badass hoverboards, I love the way they represent hope in a world where they don't belong, in a world filled with chaos and confusion. To me, the Firelights represent a breath of fresh air, and that tree is indicative of that. These people are not breathing the toxic air of the lanes or perhaps the artificial air of Piltover. These people are breathing pure, fresh air straight from an organic, healthy tree, which perfectly encapsulates what Echo's philosophy is. Don't just give the people what they need to survive, give them what they need to live. It's details like these that bring the world of Arcane to life, but more importantly, put things in perspective for all the parties involved. However, to me, more important than the factions and the world building is the characterization. Every character we come across not only has their own perspective, but also a personal touch that leaves its mark. This story doesn't just tell you or show you different perspectives, it makes you feel for them. Arcane does a masterful job of putting us in these characters' shoes and truly making us understand exactly what's going through their minds. When Powder accidentally kills everyone she loves, is left behind by her sister, and is crying her soul out, you feel that despair. When Vi realizes it was Powder that did all of this, you feel that betrayal, that confusion. When Viktor turns to Shimmer as a last resort, but ends up losing his friend instead, you feel that desperation. And of course, when Silco realizes that he has to give up his daughter, the only person he ever truly cared about, in exchange for his greatest dream, you feel his heart sink. This particular character and his moments always stand out to me because Silco embodies this idea of perspective so well. This guy has been the villain the entire time, being the reason for all our protagonists' troubles. Silco is the reason Vi was in jail, Vander's dead, Shimmer exists, and Jayce has completely gone off the rails. We're supposed to hate this guy, but at the end of the day, we realized he too is a human. He's also fighting for a cause, at first because he wants better for the people of Zon, and now because he wants a better life for his daughter, for Jayce. And you see that moment of panic on Silco's face when Jayce tells him that he wants Jayce. Hell, Silco even tries to defend her and takes the blame on himself. Silco is a terrible person who has done terrible things, but just for a second there, this show manages to convince you of his humanity, his vulnerability, by giving you his perspective. And I don't know about you, but I genuinely felt sympathetic towards Silco in this moment. Everything he ever wanted was right there in front of him, but he couldn't give up his daughter. He couldn't give up family, and he finally realizes why Vander didn't want to fight. Silco realizes that he's become just like the brother he hated so much. Which is why his death made my heart sink even further. I never would have given you to them, not for anything. Only a father could say these words after getting killed at the hands of his own daughter. This isn't a protagonist, this is the villain. The guy that stole everything from our main characters and ruined their lives. And damn, you know this is a masterpiece when it makes me say, I believe him. But that's just me. At the end of the day, it's all about perspective, and you might have a different interpretation of this scene. That's the beauty of Arcane, the beauty of perspective. This is a show that, to me, is one of the most grounded pieces of storytelling I've ever come across. A story that blew me away with its fantastic cast, beautiful music, memorable dialogue, and breathtaking cinematography. A story that masterfully executes this art of perspective. So let me leave you with a simple, yet daunting question. Who do you think is right?